Hey guys, Rexter here, and welcome to a brand new Garten of Banban video. In today's video, we will be covering the top 10 details and secrets that you probably missed in your initial Chapter 4 playthrough. Some of these details will actually have a huge impact on the game's future, and will change the way you look at Garten of Banban forever. So if that sounds good to you, grab your popcorn and a drink, and let's go ahead and take a deep dive in. So the very first detail that we're going to go ahead and point out is the fact that Banbaleena, trapped in her jail cell, is facing some of her harshest fears. Now, in my initial playthrough, I didn't make much sense of the scene that I saw on the screen. At first, it just looked like Banbaleena was sad about her imprisonment and surrounded by bowling pins. However, after doing some research and replaying Chapter 2, I realized these bowling pins have actually been introduced to us before. And if you will recall, these bowling pins were actually the bullies of her classroom. And the one wall line that they actually have written is, "You want to save this twerp? Give us your lunch money." So it looks like Banbaleena's worst fear is actually coming true as we come across her in the cell. You see, her one goal in life is to become a good teacher, as if you go back to her last voice lines at the end of the class, she says, "No, not again. I actually tried to become a good teacher this time," which suggests that she has classrooms that have failed in the past, and that seems to really hurt her. But to make matters worse, in Garten of Banban 4, it looks like the students have completely turned on her and are now bullying her, or at least, that's the case in her mind. And to be honest, it doesn't look like this is the first time that it's happened. If you'll remember, in the Garten of Banban Chapter 3, there is actually a secret VHS tape. And in this tape, it looks like Banbaleena is crumbled to the ground, crying again, with a student or somebody hovering over her. Regardless, it looks like this is a very sad outcome for Banbaleena in Garten of Banban Chapter 4. And Sherriff Toadster definitely knew how to hit her the hardest. Which brings me to my next detail. And that is that Sherriff Toadster may not be the good person that we seem to think he is. Now, of course, in Chapter 4, we actually get to tag along with him, and as we continue on our journey looking for the parts to fix the elevator, he even saves us a couple of times. And we do end the chapter by escaping with him on the elevator. But if you recall the case update reports found in this chapter, you will see some hidden details. As we know in case update number 7, Sherriff Toadster enjoyed watching Western films, and it looks like the researchers pushed him to do so. Obviously, this was an attempt to get him to become a heroic character and serve as a child protector. However, there is something strange about the case update number 9, as it says the new approach to encapsulate case number 9, aka Sherriff Toadster, with his desired identity has backfired. And perhaps the amount of Westerns shown to case number 9 was a bit too excessive, as it states that he has fully embraced himself as the Banban's gang protector. And he believes that everyone who is not a part of said gang is actually a criminal, and this included inanimate objects with human features, the facility staff, and most likely, children. And this could actually be further proven. If you'll recall, there was actually a task where we needed to collect the buckets with the googly eyes and put them back in Sherriff Toadster's prison. But then again, these were just buckets. What really concerns me is the fact that this note says most likely children. And the note even ends by saying that case number 9's methods are simply too violent to human beings' survival. And even worse, in case update number 12, it says that he has the ability to hold himself back from arresting and imprisoning, often fatally, whoever he deems a filthy criminal. However, he chooses not to. And to make things worse, he used to actually share a room with case number 6, aka the Devil, to which he seemed to take orders from. However, he was removed before he did something dangerous. But what makes this really interesting is that this was the first time that case number 9 displayed obedient behavior in months. So my theory here is actually quite simple. I believe that once the sheriff was taken out of the hands of Banban's orders and put in the place of a better ruler, in this case the queen, he began to change his actions and became the noble and honorable Toad we've come to know and love in Chapter 4. But now, the big question is, where does he go from here? With the queen looking out of the picture, I wonder, will he go back to his ruthless ways once again? As you can see how quickly it looks like he turned on his once friends and the Banban gang, finding and using their own weaknesses against them to imprison them. Almost like he forgot the life that he once lived even existed. And this proves that he has the ability to turn on us. And I can't help but feel that there's something sinister gleaming behind that giant toad smile. So now that brings us to the secret tapes, found in Garten of Banban 4. And the very first tape shows a cake sitting in the room that we once resided in. As the cake sits on the table though, you'll realize that it eventually disappears towards the end of the tape. As I initially thought there wasn't much to it, I ended up slowing down the video and I saw something insane. Once slowing down the video, I noticed that there's actually a shadowy figure that looks a lot like Banban's outline. And this same shadowy figure towards the end of the tape actually reaches his arm to the cake and takes it into what seems to be a shadow realm. So did the Euphoric brothers put this in the game to show that there are actually two worlds coexisting in the game? One being the real world and the other being this shadowy torture realm. And does that explain why Banban has these two different personalities? And when he gets angry, they switch places in this same shadowy world. Whatever the case may be, this was definitely not put here by accident, as I believe there is something very, very important about this shadowy figure. However, moving on to the secret tape number 2. In this tape, you will actually see two very familiar characters, one being Sherriff Toadster and the other being the Jester, aka Bitter Giggles. But what's really, really interesting about this tape is that you can see it looks like Queen Bouncelia is knighting the Jester. With her arm extended, it looks like she is putting it on his head or shoulder, which obviously proves that he was once a part of the kingdom. And my theory is that the Jester is actually splitting his mindset between two different personalities. And you can actually see proof of this if you pay close enough attention throughout the chapter. The first evidence being the note that you find in his secret room. As you can see, it's actually written in two different color fonts, with the purple font being more optimistic, saying I must practice because practice makes perfect. And once going through the rest of the note, you will actually see that the green side, or green font, has a more pessimistic style, as it writes, "They're all terrible. Am I the joke?" This is actually really interesting, however, because the green side of his face is smiling, while the purple side looks to be the one that is more depressed and sad. But this split of personalities definitely exists within the game, and I feel like the Euphoric brothers have tried to push this on us. You see, when you actually see Bitter Giggles' name written on the wall, the Bitter is written in purple, while the Giggles is written in green. But that's not all. There's actually more proof in the ending of Banban 4. As you can see, the struggle between two different personalities coming out in the conversation with the queen, as Bitter Giggles explains to her that he's followed every single one of her jokes, and he just wants the satisfaction one last time of her laughter. And though he's told himself time and time again that some things are more important than laughter, which is probably his good side speaking, the other, more sinister side ends up speaking up, where he says he cannot wait anymore and he needs to make her laugh, even if it's just for a little bit, and then explains that he can't be put aside again, as he's nothing without a ruler to entertain. However, right before telling his joke, it looks like the good side tries to take over just one last time, saying that he's sorry before the final joke commences and the ending takes place. Now, as for the third and final tape, I can't really make sense of this one, as I don't really see much movement happening. You do see the beach area where we shoot the cannons at the buttons. However, there seems to be nothing more to this tape, but if you guys do see something, please go ahead and comment down below. I'd love to hear your ideas on this one. But that brings us to our next secret, and that is the secret syringe room. Now, in order to unlock this secret room, you need to go back to where Nabnab and Banban fought. And if you go up to the Mr. Kebab Man, there's actually a button that you can activate with an orange keycard. Once activated, it opens up a green door with a green keycard inside. And if you take that green key card back to the door past the ventilation system, you can open up the secret room. And that is where you will find the Syringeon's mural, as well as other secret information written on the whiteboard. And on this board, it actually says case number 27, type 6 Javanium entrapment. And if you look to the board on the right, it says the possibility of entrapment is 90%, with the possibility of escape being 0. But what exactly does this mean? Is this information related to the new Syringeon character? And is he case number 27? And what does he mean for the future of Garten of Banban? Seeing as we've never seen any other murals or pictures of him, I believe that he is obviously trapped underneath the kindergarten, deep within the shadows, which leads me to my next Banban secret. And that is that I believe Tamataki Kamataki, the Jester, Kittysaurus, and the new Syringeon are all working together. And if you go to the Steam page of Garten of Banban Chapter 6, you will actually see all of these characters on a mural together. But what makes this even crazier is that it looks like this mural had been hidden, which makes sense as these characters are the mutants of the game and have been X'd out of the kindergarten. But there is one important detail that I must point out. Along with the 4 characters that I just mentioned, there's actually one more big surprise, as the character in the middle looks like Zolphius. Which brings me to my next detail that was probably missed, as if you look at this picture, Zolphius is actually smiling for once and looks happy. So my next question is, what happened to Zolphius? Obviously something has transpired in between the picture here and his current form, and I believe that he was actually very much feared in the past. If you go to the 5th note we find in the game, it says, "I just heard the news and it upsets me just as much as it upsets you, but I do feel we can turn it back around if the 6 we proceed with turn out well. In fact, if we aim to turn it back around, our little secret in the basement must stay a secret. Zolphius can only stay asleep if nobody goes to investigate." So why exactly did they want to keep Zolphius asleep? Is he just as dangerous as the naughty ones? All I know is we should be getting a huge update on Zolphius' storyline in Garten of Banban Chapter 5, as it looks to be the prequel to Chapter 1. And speaking of Chapter 1, that actually brings me to my next secret detail. You see, on the cart ride with Banban, he gives us his true name. He says it is Uthman or Uthman. And what I really want to point out about this name is that if you will recall, at the end of Garten of Banban 1, we actually come across a boarding pass with the name Uthman Adam, who was leaving from Montreal and heading to Madrid. And we do end up finding another boarding pass with Weverly Mason's name. And if you can make the connection, yes, this is Banbaleena, who is said to be married to Dr. Uthman Adams. And now that Banban himself confirmed his true name, we can tie all of this together. And if you go back to the case update report number 5, you will see that it says case 6 slowly walked up to case 7, which is Banbaleena, and at all against expectations simply gave her a long hug before reverting to huddling in the same place, corner one more time. In case 7, standing confused, was ordered to leave the room shortly after, thus proving what a lot of us already know. Banban and Banbaleena are obviously married and have been married before they transformed. And now we can confirm their true human names. But now on to the next secret detail. If you'll recall, in Garten of Banban Chapter 4, we stumble across a couple different hats. One of course being Sherriff Toadster and the other being Queen Bouncelia's crown. But if you go to the middle courtyard, there is actually one more hat that a lot of you have probably missed. And that hat is a character's hat that we have not seen yet before in the game. You see, this hat is actually a chef's hat, which a lot of people believe it belongs to a character by the name of Chef Pigster. Now, a lot of questions obviously spark from this hat being found. Did this character belong to a lunchman or lunch lady? And where exactly in the kindergarten does it reside? And I believe this could be another character that we will stumble across in Chapter 6. Now, this next secret will change the way you look at Garten of Banban forever. You see, once you put together all the details that we have about the true name of banbaleena, you will find that her real name, of course, is Weverly Mason. But something that you will stumble across inside of Garten of Banban Chapter 4 is the drawing that says, "Dear Mommy, we just had the best party ever." Now look at the characters that are drawn on this page. You have me, Claire, the giant jellyfish, and Miss Mason, who does not look happy about this event. And now that we know that Miss Mason is actually banbaleena, we have to figure out why she hates him so bad. As if you'll recall, in the Child's Note 3, it says, "Dear Mommy, the nice jellyfish is very strong. He carried everyone to here, but Miss Mason hates him, and I don't know why." And this is really confusing, seeing as Stinger Flynn looks to have saved all the children, but she hates him for it. And to make things even worse, I believe this was her class. So I'm hoping to get more of a backstory on this whole hatred thing. But feel free to comment down below your guys' theories. I'd love to hear them. And now guys, that brings us to our last and final secret detail. If you recall, when you're getting chased by the jester, you are supposed to run to the elevator. However, if you're able to juke him and head back towards the queen, you'll notice that her body is completely gone. Now, obviously, the last time we saw her, it looked like a giant purple beam was coming from her pouch, meaning that the naughty ones escaped. But where did her body go? As if you look at the Chapter 6 trailer on the Steam page, her body is clearly somewhere, as it shows her body shaking as the naughty ones are escaping from her pouch. But my question is, where exactly does this take place? And did somebody move her body in between that final chase scene? And if so, then who was it? But guys, that about wraps up this video here. If you enjoyed it, do me a big favor. Go ahead and hit that like button for more awesome content just like this. And of course, if you're new to the channel and haven't already, I definitely recommend you hit that subscribe button and turn on those bell notifications for more awesome Garten of Banban content just like this. But anyways, guys, thanks again for all the love and support, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, peace out!